Speaking section. The speaking section tests your ability to communicate in English in an academic setting. During the test, you will be presented with 4 speaking questions. The questions ask for a response to a single question, a talk, or a lecture. The prompts and questions are presented on time. You may take notes as you listen, but notes are not graded. You may use your notes to answer the questions. Some of the questions ask for a response to a reading passage and a talk or a lecture. The reading passages and the questions are written, but the directions will be spoken. Your speaking will be evaluated on both the fluency of the language and the accuracy of the content. You will have 15 to 20 seconds to prepare and 45 to 60 seconds to respond to each question. Typically, a good response will require all of the response time and the answer will be complete by the end of the response time. You will have about 17 minutes to complete the speaking section. A clock on the screen will show you how much time you have to prepare each of your answers and how much time you have to record each response.
You will now be asked a question about a familiar topic. After you hear the question, you will have 15 seconds to plan your response and 45 seconds to speak.
Do you agree that people perform fewer tasks well because they are too busy juggling a variety of tasks?
You will now read a short passage and then listen to a conversation on the same topic. You will then be asked a question about the passages. After you hear the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. You have 45 seconds to read the passage below.
Listen to 2 students discussing this article.
Whoa, wait, they're getting rid of the dorm room phones? That seems kind of crazy. What if someone doesn't have a cell phone or their service cuts out?
I see your point, but honestly, who uses landlines anymore? Everyone has a cell phone, and the dorm Wi-Fi is pretty bad. Upgrading the internet would be a huge improvement.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi can be frustrating sometimes, especially during peak hours, but getting stuck without a phone at all could be a real hassle, especially for emergencies.
True, but there are still payphones scattered around campus, and most buildings have landlines at the front desks for emergencies. Besides, removing the phones would free up space. Maybe they could add more outlets or even small desks in the rooms.
That's an interesting point. More outlets would definitely be nice. And who knows, maybe better Wi-Fi would encourage more students to use online calling services instead of traditional landlines.
Exactly. Technology is constantly evolving, and landlines are becoming a thing of the past. I remember my cousin's dorm at another university didn't have phones in the rooms either, and they all managed just fine with their cell phones.
Okay, I have to admit, better Wi-Fi sounds pretty tempting. As long as there are alternative options for emergencies, I guess I could see getting rid of the landlines.
The woman expresses her opinion about the proposal described in the letter. Briefly summarize the proposal. Then state her opinion about the proposal and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion.
You will now read a short passage and then listen to a lecture on the same topic. You will then be asked a question about the passage. After you hear the question, you have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. You have 45 seconds to read the passage below. You may begin reading now.
Now listen to part of a lecture in an entomology class. Today, we will delve into the concept of communal nutrition in social insects and explore how it manifests in their feeding behaviors. A prime example of communal nutrition is observed in honeybee colonies. Within a hive, individual bees perform specific tasks related to food acquisition and distribution. For instance, worker bees engage in foraging activities, diligently searching for nectar and pollen sources. Once they locate a food source, they communicate its location to other workers through intricate dancing patterns and pheromones. This communication allows other bees to follow precise directions and gather the food. Additionally, honeybees exhibit a division of labor in food storage. Some bees specialize in converting nectar into honey, which facilitates long-term storage and serves as a vital resource during periods of scarcity. Other bees are responsible for distributing stored food within the hive, ensuring that all colony members have access to nourishment. These examples illustrate the concept of communal nutrition in social insects, where individuals work together in a coordinated manner to obtain, process, store, and distribute food resources. This harmonious system of colony feeding enhances the survival and success of the entire social insect community.
Explain how the example from the professor's lecture illustrates the concept of communal nutrition in social insects.
You will now listen to part of a lecture. You will then be asked a question about it. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak.
Listen to part of a lecture in an art history class.
Today, we are going to examine how photography had a profound impact on the field of painting. The emergence of photography in the 19th century brought about significant changes in artistic practices. Allow me to provide you with two strategies and accompanying examples to illustrate these transformative effects. One way photography affected painting was by influencing the subject matter. Before the invention of photography, painting was primarily used to create realistic representations of people, landscapes, and historical events. However, with the advent of photography, painters began to explore new artistic directions. They no longer felt the need to solely focus on realistic depictions. Instead, they started to experiment with capturing fleeting moments, the play of light, and atmospheric effects that were challenging to portray using traditional painting techniques. This shift led to the rise of artistic movements such as Impressionism, which embraced the unique qualities of photography. Another way photography impacted painting was in terms of composition and perspective. Photographers introduced innovative techniques for framing subjects, experimenting with different angles, and manipulating depth of field. These advancements challenged painters to reconsider their artistic approaches and explore alternative compositional choices. Artists like the Cubists and the Surrealists were particularly influenced by photography, as they sought to depict multiple perspectives, fragmented forms, and abstract representations in their work.
Using the examples of Impressionism and Cubism from the lecture, explain two ways that photography affected painting.